Hi everyone, I'm back, and here I am with another Sonic IDW review, this time being of the story, Hero Camp. Now, about a week ago, I bought some volumes that include the Sonic IDW comics, one of these being Volume 13, which includes issues 50, 51, the Free Comic Book Day story, Deep Trouble, and all of the annual 2022 stories. No lie, I was actually flipping through multiple volumes to try and find the annual 2022 stories. And when I flipped through volume 13 and found one of the pages that included the Silver story, I'm like, I'm buying this, and I can't believe I actually own this now. So the stories I've read are of Weapons, Hero Camp, and of course Future Growth. The first three annual 2022 stories I've actually read. I haven't read the other three yet, but I wanted to review Hero Camp because it's another story that stands out to me. So let's get started. So in this story, the character Cream the Rabbit goes to this hero camp because she wants to learn how to become a real hero. And some other kids are there as well. They say how they're going to tie knots, build hideouts, and make s'mores and stuff. And Cream's mother Vanilla says that the camp does not look like the way it's advertised, which I can actually show you in these panels. Here's what the camp looks like in the advertisement, and here's what it actually looks like. It looks sketchy, it looks trashed, it does not look like the way it's advertised. And this is because this is a trick used by Eggman's sidekicks, Orbot and Cubot. So Orbot and Cubot decided to make this hero camp as a way to learn knowledge of what the restoration does, like their tactics, and what Sonic does, his tactics, and they figure they can trick the kids because they think the kids are too dumb to even realize, and figure that they could learn all of Sonic's secrets and tactics through this hero camp. And then they put on like these disguises so they won't be recognized, which you can obviously still tell that it's Orbot and Cubot. Yeah, they don't really put on disguises that well. And they even give themselves fake names, with Orbot being called Orville and Cubot being called Cubert. You can still tell it sounds like Orbot and Cubot without them being called that. But then the kids are like, you guys know Sonic? And then Orbot's like, the real question is do you know Sonic? And they attempt to put their hero knowledge to the test, which the first thing they do is tie knots. And Orbot and Cubot tie these tight knots. They tie the kids' hands up behind their backs very tightly, using this as a way to see if rope is a weakness, the restoration's weakness. And Cream here is able to set herself free, noting that Sonic uses his spines to cut through rope. And then Cubot puts a note that rope is not a weakness. So this is supposed to show what the restoration can and cannot do, and what their strengths and weaknesses are. So they make notes of what ones are weaknesses and which ones are not. And in that case, rope's not a weakness. So the next thing they do is they build hideouts. And the kids are basically doing it themselves. They're like doing it their own way. Even though like Orbot, Cubot say kind of do it in the way like the restoration would, or something like that. And they also want to gain knowledge on this too, on the way like they like do like their stuff, what their skills are. And then they eventually decide that they need to rebuild it, because Cream says how they're doing it their own way, without even thinking about doing it the way the restoration would. And then Orbot eventually notes, oh, bearings and bolts, redo, we need to rebuild from the ground up. And Cubot attempts to take the structure all down, the kids all fall down, the structure collapses, they all fall to the ground. And the last thing they do is they decide to sit by the campfire and have some s'mores. And Cubot here notes, 9 out of 10 databases list scary stories under classic camp activities. Who can tell me a story that would scare even a hero? And then they note how they could include some kind of badnik, and bonus points if they could also give them schematics. And then by then the kids are not thrilled. The kids look bored. They look exhausted. Yeah, the kids look like they pretty much had enough of it. And one of them says, how about we just make some s'mores? To which Orbot answers, what's a s'more? And then this is the point where Cream has literally had enough of the whole thing, where she says, that's it. You don't know how to tie knots, build hideouts, or make s'mores, and say that they are not real camp leaders. I kind of have to look back and forth because I can't specifically remember what they say, so I apologize for that. But she says that they're not real camp leaders, and they're like, get them, because they're onto them. And they're like, no, because they got onto them. They kind of saw what the gig was up. They were kind of being tricked, and how Orbot and Cubot don't have any knowledge at all about it. Then Vanilla comes back and asks how Hero Camp was for Cream, and then Cream then says that maybe they are real heroes after all, like they're already heroes. And here you can see that they tied up Orbot and Cubot, where Orbot mentions that they taught him too well, and then Cubot makes a remark saying that he's so proud, and they at least they leave a s'more for them and makes him know love the restoration, and that's the end of the story. They leave him a s'more, love the restoration. That's the end of the story there. So I would say that I actually do like the story. I do like Orbot and Cubot in a way. Like, I've watched Sonic Boom and I've liked Orbot and Cubot. Like, there's a few episodes where I like those two, and I like how they're included like in the story, and I even like read their lines dramatically when reading this aloud to like my brother, and I've even read my grandma these books too. I was like so excited to like read these to her and stuff, and like I could read them in multiple different ways. I could probably even do maybe a dub on Hero Camp as well. Though I don't think I could do like robot voices like Orbot and Cubot do, because I'm just using my regular voice. But that's what Hero Camp is all about. It's one of those other stories with characters that interact that normally wouldn't, this time being Cream and Orbot and Cubot. You basically have like 3 different characters, because Orbot and Cubot are 2 different ones, but they're Eggman sidekicks, of course. So I'd say that I actually do like the story. That story also stands out to me. As in terms with the other stories, I haven't really read the other annual 2022 stories. Another one that I ended up reading was on Weapons, though I don't feel like the story stands out that much to me. Probably because I'd have to read some of the previous issues in order to understand everything with the robots and stuff. I feel like the difference is with the case with Hero Camp is, like, I don't know. I think it just, like, stands out to me because I kind of treat it like a standalone story. Heck, even Future Grows I treated like a standalone story, because these are basically one-shot stories, and, like, they can just be put off to the side without really needing any continuity. Which, like, I don't specifically know when, like, these short stories take place. They could take place in, like, various, like, points of the IDW continuity, but I'm not specifically sure, like, when, like I said in my previous IDW review. But there was my review on the IDW story, Hero Camp.